Hello, and welcome to the Tennessee Valley Art Association Spotlight Series. We are speaking with Suzanne Reese Mills, director of the radio play, The Headless Horseman of Sleepy Hollow, written by Tony Palermo. This is the first radio play the Ritz Theater has produced, and the performance will be available to stream October 26th to November 2nd. Suzanne, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, Suzanne, first and foremost, why a radio play?
Well, I won't take full credit for the radio play idea. This is something that we're seeing a lot of theaters across the country do right now, turn to a different medium that allows us to be safe under the present circumstances. So typically at this time, we would like to be actually coming together, putting people on stage, piling audiences into the house, and of course, for a lot of reasons that everyone is aware of, we're not able to do that at the moment. So this is a creative way. This idea was brought to me, and I'm so happy to be a part of it, that we can continue to bring our stories and our art to our audiences and kind of meet them where they are and ask them to meet us where we are. So in a way, this is a little bit nostalgic. You know, we're sort of transported back to a time when families would sit at home around the radio and engage just one of the five senses with a radio play instead of being bombarded. And we will be happy to bombard audiences with, full-scale plays and musicals when we can do so safely again. But right now, it's a little bit of a chance for people to slow down. And so in that way, it is sort of a look back. But I also see this as representation of a really beautiful step forward for everyone in the arts and in theater. We are a group who should always be ready and willing to move ahead and to adapt. And so that's what we're trying to do here. We're doing what we can right now to reach our audience. So this is just a really fun way to do that.
Well, what drew you to this particular radio play script?
Well, on the surface, I just love this time of year. I love Halloween, and I think that the radio play style really lends itself to scary stories. So in a way, it had a lot to do with that, but digging in deeper to the script, I think a lot of us are familiar with it in some form or another. We've seen a lot of adaptations of this story over time. And in fact, this year is actually the 200th anniversary of the original short story. But digging into the script deeper, I started seeing a lot of themes of dreams and, of course, nightmares. And the idea that there is sometimes a fine line between those two. And right now, again, with the present circumstance, we're all sort of enduring some nightmarish times together. And I think that what this show does is, in the midst of that, it can also bring humor and levity and light.
Great, that's awesome. Did you have any challenges that are kind of unique to this format when you were directing your cast?
I think that we have encountered challenges that are familiar to a lot of people right now, as a lot of people have been working from home and in the past several months have become intimately acquainted with video conferencing. So most of our rehearsal process has been remote. We have been video conferencing for our rehearsals. It's just in this last week leading up to the show that we are meeting together, and of course doing that under the current health guidelines. But the majority of our time together has been virtual. So that has, of course, presented some unique challenges. As a director, sometimes I have to remember that my cast is bumping up against those challenges. Sometimes in rehearsal, we will laugh because I'll be telling people, pick up your cues, you missed that line. And then I remember, oh, this person is dealing with a 5-second delay tonight. So sometimes I'm thinking, where was that line? And then a few lines later, I hear that person chime in. So that can be sort of tough. And it is, of course, challenging too when we do come together physically, that we're still not doing it under normal circumstances. We're coming together in masks and we're not able to join together in the way that a cast and production team typically would. And another interesting challenge that has really just been a lot of fun for this is a big part of the radio play style is the Foley sound effects. So just the technique of creating everyday sounds. And so this on a film or a TV show would be done in post-production, but in the radio play style, we're doing this in the moment, or I should say a few of my cast members are doing this in the moment. So my awesome production team has gathered together all of these physical materials that they can use for this. And I am putting a lot on my cast members, asking them to, in some cases, play several different characters and also create all of these live sound effects. So that has been certainly challenging, but really a lot of fun.
Did you find any new discoveries that were pleasant or positive, or, oh, I'd like to do this again because this was so fun in this radio play format?
I think the sound effects, doing the Foley technique, it's not something that I've ever worked with before. And so I sort of coming into it, imagined that it would just be a hassle and would be something to sort of get past and, let's get that taken care of. And then we can really get into the script and working the scenes. But that has surprised me in how big a part of the story it is, and the character and of the piece and the style. So that's something that I would love to have the opportunity to do again. And I will say, sort of on a different note, I have been really inspired doing the show in this format to see how willing artists are to, like I said before, adapt. And looking around the country, we're very fortunate to be able to do the show in this format. It's not easy for a lot of people to throw out, their plans and decide on something else and reach their audience in this way. But I think no matter the circumstances and the challenges that are being faced by a lot of different artists, what I think we have discovered together in this process is that art is alive and artists are always going to find a way to keep at it.
That's excellent. And that means that then audiences can participate in keeping the arts alive as well.
That's right. And that's a vital part of it. And we're so grateful for that too, for everyone joining us in this venture.
Suzanne, thank you so much for sharing some of your directorial process with us. It's fascinating, and we love to hear the behind the scenes inner workings of the artistic production before it's brought to the audience.
Thank you.
Yeah, so everyone, again, access to the Headless Horseman of Sleepy Hollow will be available on our website at TennesseeValleyArts.org starting October 26th. Keep it spooky with us this Halloween.